Hey everybody, thanks for joining us back out here at the Range Report. And today we're actually going to do a part 2 of a video that we started a couple of weeks back that we actually caught a lot of flack over that I don't think was quite well deserved. A couple of weeks ago we brought out the Kel-Tek PMR-30, which I referred to as the POS 30 because no matter what we could do, we couldn't get 6 rounds or more out of a gun that holds 30 rounds. So we had everybody complaining from you're using the wrong ammo to you don't know how to load your magazines, a whole litany of problem. Now, those people who had things to complain about, I guess they didn't bother looking at all the other videos on YouTube that show dozens of other people having very similar problems with the earliest generation of this gun. And, you know, we were just going to throw it back in the safe, call it a day, and say, to hell with it. But we did a little research, and we reached out to a company called M-Carbo. Now, M-Carbo makes a whole host of parts for this gun that improve, allegedly, the functionality of it. The first part that they came up with was a stainless steel beveled feed ramp, because the feed ramp that came with this gun is a polymer feed ramp that kind of looks like the goalposts of a football field. Every time the round would hit it, it would shoot it up right in there, and it wouldn't go into the breech at all. So they redesigned it. So we ordered one of those and we put that in. The other part that we put in was a different magazine catch. The magazine catch that came stock with these guns protrudes slightly from the base of the grip. So if you have big hands like I do, when you grip it, you have a tendency of actually dropping the magazine inadvertently. So M-Carbo developed a magazine release that would recess into the grip a little bit better, but more importantly, it would readjust the placement of the magazine, because the magazine actually had about 1/8 of an inch of play up and down. Now, when you have rounds that are under spring pressure, it's pushing the magazine down, so when that comes to pick up the next round is lower than where it would have been normally, and it doesn't have a nice smooth feed. The third part that we put in, not necessary, but we opted to do it anyway, was a short reset flat face trigger that has adjustable take-up in it. And between those 3 parts, they say that this gun should run much better. It's also worth noting that M-Carbo is now supplying the same parts to Kel-Tek for these guns. So you could order this gun now with the M-Carbo parts installed, and you shouldn't have the problem that the earlier ones had. Now, as far as our ammunition goes, we were scolded because, you have to use 40 grain bullets. Well, we were. You have to use this, you have to use that. Well, if you've been to your FFL lately, you know that ammunition is a little hard to come by at the moment. And I don't know about you, but a good friend of mine, Steve, says, when speaking of 9mm, if it doesn't run steel, it doesn't deserve brass. Well, the same thing applies to this. If you don't have the option of getting your 40 grain projectiles that the manufacturer suggests, and you have to get whatever's on the shelf, hey, you know what? What are you going to do? Not have your firearm? I don't think so. So this thing better be able to run any 22 Magnum projectile that you put in it, regardless of manufacturer, regardless of bullet weight. So today, we've alleviated those problems with an install, and while I've been talking, there's probably been a little window right here showing you some of the steps that we did. We've got 2 magazines loaded up. The first magazine, we've got Maximag HP from CCI. They have 40 grain projectiles. They're not a V-tip, so there's a little bump on the nose of the projectile. The second magazine is 30 grain from VMAX from Hornady. Those are 30 grain projectiles. So we're going to run the 40s first, see how they run, then we'll run the 30s and see how they run. And you guys can figure out whether or not this thing is still a POS or PMR. So we're going to take some shots and see how it goes. Alright, so now today's test is not necessarily about accuracy, it's just all about function. The first rounds we're going to be running through today are the CCI Maximags HPs. And as you can see, hope the camera picks these up, they do not have a V point on them, but they are 40 grain. So we have 30 rounds loaded up in this thing. We're going to see how this thing functions. You know, for all of the 40 grain fanatics, we'll see if this is the preferred round for this firearm. So I'm going to Load this up. We're chambered. Safety is off. My ears are on. And we're going to try and run 30 rounds as quickly as we can. All right, that's 2 rounds in of the 40 grain. Now, as you can see, we have 1 round that's taken a dive straight up into the chamber. Now, the only way that we found to alleviate this is you have to pull back slightly and then feed again. And again, the same problem. The same problem. And again. And a light primer strike. All right, so I'm going to drop this mag out. I'm going to clear the chamber. I'm going to lock it open. Now, did that have something to do with the bullet weight, or does that have something to do with the bullet shape? I'm in the second camp. So with that, we're going to run now. Remind you, those were 40 grain projectiles, CCIs. These are the Hornady. These are 30 grain projectiles with the V-tip on them. And you see these right here. All right. We're going to run these, and once again, we're going to try and fire these off as quickly as possible. If these run, then we know that the repair parts that M-Carbo sent us are effective, but only for this kind of ammunition, not necessarily weight, but shape. A few extra rounds went off, but we have the same problem. We're hung up again. So I'm going to bring the slide back a little bit. It's chambered again. Same problem. And we're clear. Now, as you can see, the second round of the second magazine of rounds was a little bit more successful than the first one, but there's still a feed issue. So we're going to try and take this down one more time and give it another shot. And for those that say, "Oh, you're loading the magazines wrong," we're using the Kel-Tek loader. So we'll have to see one more time. See if M-Carbo has a fix for this. If not, then we're still going to relegate this to the POS category and tell you that it's not worth your money. So until next time, you guys be safe and shoot straight.